the man himself, Mr. Dan Terry.
Thank you.
So I want to have a little chat with you about a few things. First of all, for a little bit of a laugh, can you spot the difference here? Or to me, they look exactly the same, Marcus. What do you think?
Perhaps get some more glasses, mate.
And he didn't go to Vision Express, did he? Yeah? Kieran? Perfectly fine to you, mate, isn't it? Nothing phases you, does it? Not even when we're in Buxton together. No. And that bitch you said on the course, you can remember? I'm not very PC, by the way, so I apologise up front, yeah? We'll have to talk about that another time, Anna, yeah? But the idea is, the more differences you see, Tracy, because I know you work for, the more stressed you are. How's that?
It's like a ball.
Does it? Martin, any offers?
Elephant, isn't it?
An elephant, okay. Okay. What I really wanted to do, and let me tell you, if anyone's ever registered an ISBN and done things like that, what a long time process these things take. And I rang her up and she said, I rather like InSpice, I'll have 2 copies. I said, that's not what I want to hear. I want you to change it for the proper title of Inspire. And she says, well, I like InSpice. I'm arguing with the ISBN people. I couldn't believe it. And you know what they're like? They're very straight normally. I thought, she's having me on. She's got to be. So we went round the room. You know, you do a wash-up at the end of a course. And so what did you think? We were doing behaviour training. So you can imagine the sort of psychology in that. And we got all the way round. And I think I was doing the wash-up, wasn't I, that day? And Keith was next to me. And she said, I've not learned anything. Not learned a thing. And like Keith looked at me and I looked at him. We felt like punchable face woman, but we thought, no, we better not do that. You know, don't put that on, by the way. That's not to go down there with. And it just knocked me. I thought, if you've never learned anything, then you've not even learned. You know, this is a new room, a new day, a new chair. You never sit in the same chair twice. You never dip your feet in the river twice. You know, every course is brand new to that, and that's how I start every morning when I do a seminar or I do a training session. Like Carl, recently I'm in metal improvements with yourself. In Derby, and I went in there and they didn't know what to expect of me. You can imagine. Within 10 minutes they're like, wow, can we have a fag break? You know? And I went, no. And the next thing you know, they just, that's it, more courses, more courses. But it is about building the relationship, isn't it? So I set the rules of this book around this, getting to know the delegates. I thought, well, that's a good idea. Let's get to know them. How do we get to know them? How do we get to know their preferred learning style? How do we know if someone's visual? How do we know if they're auditory? How do we know if they're feeling type, kinesthetic type, that sort of thing? Now, I admit, some of you in here are practitioners and master practitioners of neurolinguistics. But you know what? Even when you look through it, you think, well, that's obvious. But to a lot of other people, it's not. So for some people in here, you'll find it pretty straightforward. But there'll be other trainers who've not even seen this before, even in modern day. And then, again, delivering the flexibility, which we've just said, group engagement and interaction, which is important. And yet you'd be surprised how many don't even consider that. They don't even consider it. And this bit, I met a professor once. Why do you need to use humour? I said, well, have you ever used humour? No, and I certainly will not start now. Okay. I thought you just have done, because the delegates absolutely loved it. Absolutely. And I'm not starting. John, you've met plenty in the city. You know, with all respect. You know, it's got to be done this way. And yet they get no feedback how they're doing anyway. They just send them off to the next session. So we started to look at these. Some of you know I build a lot of fun into that. Things that I made this, well, we made it ourselves, the whole group, about where you sit and never, because I had them all boxed in, and Steve said, no, you just want never sometimes or always. And I scored.
Really?
Yeah, in my own survey. I failed it, John. Oh, no, I've got to do some more listening. Let me grab you a book, Paul, unless you want a quirky copy. I think what the passion, the drive was for me, in all honesty, was, because everyone's asked me that, they said, what was the passion behind it? And for me, I had something to say. And I felt that other trainers who were good were not saying it, just going around and doing it. And the other trainers then didn't know they were not any good. So I thought, I've got something positive to say, so I'll write it. And that's why I'm keen on pushing it out. And that's how Ken Blanchard came about with his 1 Minute Manager, because it had something to say that managers weren't doing. They weren't listening to the staff. They weren't praising them. You know, they pushed them to the limits and the morale dropped, you know, them sort of things. And how much does it cost to say thanks? You know, genuinely, thanks for that. So
You get so much more out of people with positive and negative, don't you?
Well, we know that. All of us run our own thing and have our own teams and that. And I